What's going on, guys? Chuck here with another awesome Blu-ray purchase. Today, I've got a new release from Vinegar Syndrome. It just arrived today, and this was one that was kind of a surprise to me when it was announced probably about a month or so ago. I know it wasn't too long ago. I'm also surprised that it shipped so quickly. I think it was like during one of their last sales. And it is the 1985, dare I say, cult classic, The Howling 2, Your Sister is a Werewolf. The kinda, sorta sequel to Joe Dante's classic, The Howling. Um, this film's reputation totally precedes it. I think most people who are familiar with The Howling 2 know that it's a weird, wacky film. As you know, the Howling series is one of those series that I think totally went off the rails. Really, the only one's considered a classic is obviously the original one. And then, for me, I've only seen 1 and 2. I think I remember seeing parts of 3, but the rest of them I just had no interest. And truth be told, even as much as The Howling, because film as The Howling is, and I do like, I'm going to take an American Werewolf in London over The Howling any day. I know that's probably an argument starter with some people, and it is what it is. But it is a good movie, don't get me wrong. And for the longest time, I was up in the air about Howling 2. My history with it goes back to late night cable, as most of my history with films do. It's one I saw repeatedly. I think my mom recorded. Like I said, I think I mentioned before. We used to have a whole shelf full of VHS tapes. Store bought VHS tapes we record on. We'd have about an average of 3 movies per tape, and this is one that she recorded. My mom would record anything. She would just, if she look, get the cable guide out. Oh, this sounds good. I'll just record it. Set timer, record it. So we had so much stuff. Had a wide range of film. From cable, regular TV, whatever. It sounded good. She recorded it, and this is one of those movies. So I saw it a lot that way too. Of course, I saw seeing it that way on our VHS tape a lot wasn't necessarily because it was a good movie. It's because I was a prepubescent kid, and Sybil Danning was showing her Dannings quite often in The Howling 2. Your sister was a werewolf. But this was a film I've probably seen The Howling 2 more than The Howling. I don't know what that says, but it is what it is. And I'm pretty sure I saw it before I saw The Howling. But I always knew it was kind of silly and goofy, and without even knowing at that time even much about movies or whatever. I think it was a weird film. And I just kind of forgot about it. Then many years later, Scream Factory actually had released this, and I was like, well, what the heck am I getting? And it's this release here, which is a really good Blu-ray release. I believe it's long out of print, as far as that. Well, obviously by now it probably is. And remember, getting this was really cool to see that. I think it was the first time it was ever released on Blu-ray, at least here in the States. I don't know if it ever got an overseas release or not. But it was really cool, and it had a lot of good special features on here. I was like, wow, this is really nice to get this release, and then it was gone. And then, don't think too much about it. And it's kind of funny, because just a year ago, as I mentioned before, backtrack, every year I kind of host a, Halloween horror, movie night, which, we bring people over, I get a theme of films put together, and, we kind of have like a, theater drive-in, kind of experience, that kind of feel. We have, props set up, whatever. And last year's was a case where I took a bunch of genres of film. I kind of had like a voting tournament for all my guests, and the winner was werewolves, and I just picked 4 random films, and Howling 2 was one of those films just because it was fun. So just saw it a year ago, and it's the first time I'd seen it in a while. It's kind of brought back some things. That's kind of cool. It's fun. It was goofy, whatever. And then you forget about it. Then lo and behold, Vinegar Syndrome announces all of a sudden they're bringing out this 4K release of The Howling 2. I'm like, whoa, that came out of nowhere. Who would have expected The Howling 2 to get a 4K release? Not only that, I'm going to tell you, this is a really nice 4K release from Vinegar Syndrome. It's first off, let me tell you, if you have this, and I think this was a lot of people question, why would I want to get this? I got this Blu-ray, and what more do you need for that? Why do you need the Howling in 2 and 4K? And that's fair. That's if you've got this release, you're okay. There's nothing wrong with this release. This is a really good release, and I will tell you that this one has everything that's on this release. Again, pour it over here. And this was my first thought was, okay, they're just taking the same disc, but they're going to 4K it. And more or less they did. But, well, not really, actually. I'll get back to that. Actually, this is much better. But they actually have a whole bunch of new, well, not a whole bunch, but about 5 or 6 new features on here that aren't on here, including the original features that are on this disc. So this has got more stuff to it, and it's a much better presentation. It's a much better release. And why is that? Well, first of all, let's just talk about this amazing slipcover art. That is fantastic. Look at that. That is so good. And here's your back. I mean, that is better than this film deserves. To be perfectly honest with you. So yeah, and here's the reverse artwork. Has that classic image that we're all familiar with. But why this is different, because this basically is a release. Doesn't mention anything about a new transfer or anything. I mean, it is a nice clean transfer. There's no question. It looks good. It's mono stereo, which there's no special 5.1 or no Dolby Atmos, nothing like that. The standard mono stereo from the release, which is a very good sounding audio mix. But what's cool about this is that this is actually a newly scanned and restored from a 35mm negative. So this is definitely what you're getting. Actually, there was no mention of a new transfer or scan on this one, but this is newly scanned from 35mm prints, and it looks really good. It's nice and crisp. It looks good. It's smooth. I mean, I didn't watch the whole film. I just kind of scanned through. What I saw was really good, and I was impressed. Like I said, the sound was still really good. It's good. Even the Blu-ray. I'm assuming the Blu-ray might be the same, or maybe it's another rescan copy. They didn't really say, but it is the Blu-ray. But the Blu-ray looks good too. But the 4K looks really nice. Perfectly honest with you too, I don't know how much of a difference there is between the Blu-ray and the 4K. I'm not that tech savvy, but I do know this is a really clean print, and this Blu-ray is really good too. I had to do a side by side to really see it, but I'm also watching both of these on a 4K player, so this is upscaling it. So I may be deceived some way, but I just know this does look really good and is really worth it. If you wanted this and weren't able to get it, don't go on eBay trying to find it. Go ahead and pick this one up from Vinegar Syndrome. So inside we've got your 2 discs, your 4K and your Blu-ray, and 4K doesn't want to. There we go. 4K to Blu-ray. And again, the reverse artwork is the same as the slipcover. This is what's on the reverse. And inside is this nice little booklet, which I actually read the whole thing. And it's a nice, let's see, it's the Hammer movie they never made, appreciating Howling 2 by Matt Serafini. And this is a really nice essay, I guess, talking about a lot of the, troubles with the production, which is a lot of stuff I never knew about, actually. The filming in Prague and Czechoslovakia, during the Cold War, only the third film at the time to be filmed behind Iron Curtain. I think prior to them was Amadeus and Yentl. So Amadeus, Yentl, Howling 2. Films filmed behind the Iron Curtain. That's pretty cool. There's some great images in this, and some behind the scenes stills. Actually, this is a really interesting, little essay, talking about a lot of different troubles that they had in production. The fact that the werewolf costumes were actually leftover Planet of the Apes costumes from the Planet of the Apes TV series, and they just had to make them work, which is why that Christopher Lee threw in a line about different levels of transformation from man to wolf, and somewhere's ape in between Sure. But that was Christopher Lee's idea, excuse me, to come up with that line. As he talked with the director about that, just to make those costumes work. And you see it, throughout the film, these more primate-looking werewolves, I guess. So there's that. There's the whole reason why Sybil Danning is wearing sunglasses is because she got a real bad eye infection, and they just they couldn't do anything to change the schedule. So they gave her some eyeglasses or sunglasses to cover it, and it works somehow. For her character, it just works. So yeah, it's a lot of nice stuff on there, and it really gives a nice appreciation for the film and what they had to do, and just had to make a movie, good or bad. Which brings you to the special features on here, which I did go through all the new special features. Excuse me. So let's take a look at what we got on here. As I said, disc 1, the 4K disc, contains the 91-minute feature presentation of Howling 2, Your Sister Was a Werewolf, newly scanned from 35mm negative, like I said. And it does contain a brand new commentary track with director Philippe Mora and author-screenwriter Kelly Goodner, along with the archival commentaries that were on the original Blu-ray disc. I think there's like 2 or 3 of them. Let's see. On disc 2, which is the Blu-ray, has all his audio commentary tracks again. But you also get, let's see, Lights, Camera, Werewolves, a conversation with director Philippe Mora and filmmaker Michael Mohan, which actually is about 20 minutes or so. And it's a very interesting and fascinating interview. I really liked it a lot. It's, you're getting into some of the anecdotes from the director about making the film and just, some filmmaking in general, which is, it's a really nice conversation piece, which is really cool between 2 directors. I really like it a lot. It's something oh goodness, I'm sorry, I can't talk. It's something reminiscent of what I remember seeing on the Night of the Demons Scream Factory release with Kevin Tierney, the director, and I can't remember who else was on their talk, but have a nice, that was like an hour-long conversation about the film. But this is something along those lines and more. It's a sit down. It's very casual, but they're getting to the film. It's really cool. Let's see, where was I? A romp through Czechoslovakia, interview with actress Annie McEnroe, which is nice because she was not on the original Scream Factory release. Thrown to the Wolves, an interview with special makeup effects artist Steve Johnson, which I've seen him on a couple different Blu-rays talking about special effects and makeup. And actually, it's always a very interesting talk. It only runs about maybe 10, 15 minutes. A live collaboration with Philippe Mora, an interview with Pamela Krause, which, it's his wife and was his artist consultant. Again, talking about some of those issues they had to deal with in Czechoslovakia and, getting through customs and dealing with just the communist soldiers there and different things. It's really interesting. Freaky Sexy Man, an interview with composer Stephen Parsons, just be talking about the music, which should also talk about the music in this film. Is really, I don't know, it stands out. I mean, well, the main song stands out, the Howling song. That once you hear that, that's like an earworm, and it will stay in your head for a while. But it's fun. It's upbeat. It's nice. It's weird, out of place, and it comes out of nowhere. But it's enjoyable. And like I said, it will stick with you for the longest time. Lord of the Stricken Field, film historian Jonathan Rigby on Christopher Lee and Howling to Your Sister's World. This was another interesting, almost half-hour little featurette. And this was by Christopher Lee's official autobiographer, talking about, giving some insight into Christopher Lee, the person, in his, what he was going through prior to doing Howling 2, during and after, and some other special, cool little anecdotes. So I thought that was a really interesting interview. That, and like I said, the interview with director Philippe Mora, those are probably the 2 highlights of the new special features. After that is basically all the archival features from the Scream Factory release, the Queen of the Werewolves, an archival interview with actress Sybil Danning, Leading Man, an archival interview with actor Red Brown, a Monkey Phase, an archival featurette with special makeup effects artist Steve Johnson and Scott Wheeler. You got a theatrical trailer gallery. There's a gag reel So this thing has got a lot of good special features on it. So, I mean, Vinegar Syndrome did a really good job with this release. And like I said, honestly, when this came out, I thought, well, there's nothing more you can get from this. And they did it. Excuse me. And they did it. So yeah, I am really glad, because I was on the fence. Do I really need to pick this up? You know, I got this Blu-ray. You know, what more could they get? And then, lo and behold, as usual, Vinegar Syndrome blows me away. So it was a great presentation. They put a lot, a lot of effort behind this release. It looks great, sounds great. You got a lot of new special features, which is always something you're looking for when you're upgrading a movie. Not only are you just getting it for a different format or whatever, but sometimes you like to have a little more to, pump up or beef up the release, as it were. It's always nice to get a few extra releases. And it's even better when you get some new releases, or some new features, along with the old ones. If you can, just kind of like keep adding on to them, that's a feature release. That's the dream. If you're getting, every new release, and it takes these features from the first release to the second release, and you add more, and then the new release comes out, you throw all those on that and add more. That's always a plus if you can do that. And it's very rarely done, but it's nice when they do. So kudos to Vinegar Syndrome for this quick, simple video here. But yeah, Howling 2, Your Sister's a Werewolf. Check it out. And, check out Sybil Danning's in 4K. 17 times the credits. 17 times. If you enjoy this, click thumbs up, share, subscribe, leave me a comment below. Let me know if you picked up this release from Vinegar Syndrome, or if you still have the old Scream Factory release. If you've never even seen Howling 2, Your Sister is a Werewolf. Or just say hi. I'll always take hi. So until next time, this is Chuck saying I will see you on the other side.